And tonight we are starting with Decision 2024, and Ruben Gallego has made history in the Arizona Senate race. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Karima Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Just a few minutes ago, we got the latest numbers in the race, and they were enough for the AP to call it. Democrat Ruben Gallego has defeated Kari Lake and will now head back to Washington as Arizona's first Latino senator. He is on stage right now. Let's listen in.
Being here was something that was literally a dream. It was a dream for me to go to college. It was a dream of my mom that any of us ever went to college. She was hoping that we'd just become good citizens, and we did. And it's all due to because this is the greatest country in the world. And the only way I could be here is because of this great country, and I want to thank them for that. For those that don't know me, my name is Ruben Gallego. I'm a husband, a Marine, a father, and a proud Arizonan. And with the results we saw tonight, your next senator from the great state of Arizona. And the first Latino senator in the history of Arizona. Not an easy road, and many of you have been with me, not just today, not just for this last election, but for almost 20 years in one way or the other, fighting not for me, but for Arizona. And it started many, many years ago with my mom raising me and my 3 sisters just on a secretary's salary. And like too many moms across this country, she did not have enough, and she did not have it easy. But she gave us everything she could. She worked night and day, all to give us a shot at the American dream. And only in America can 4 children raised by an immigrant single mom grow up to become a teacher, a doctor, a businesswoman, and now a soon-to-be senator. As a kid, I did everything I could to help her. I worked at pizza factories, pizza places. I worked at restaurants. I was a janitor. I was a line cook. I worked at a meat packing factory. Everything just to help her push one more day so we could all have an opportunity at the American dream. At the age of 20, I was lucky enough to enlist in the United States Marine Corps because I wanted to serve the greatest country in the world and return the favor it had given to me. And I was proud to have had that chance. We launched this campaign 22 months ago. 22 months ago. And just like then, and just like now, I believe that every kid should have a chance at the American dream. And we have talked about that all across Arizona. We've traveled the state. We've gone to the reddest parts of the state, gone to the bluest parts of the state. We've gone to parts of the state that have not been visited by anyone and shown respect and asked for their opinion and asked for them to be part of the process. And what I've learned from every part of this state, from Democrats, Republicans, Independents, is that we all just want a better life for ourselves and the ability to give our kids the best possible future that they could have. So that's exactly what I'm going to fight for in the Senate. And I'll work with anyone to get that job done, for nuestras familias and for Arizona. I'll fight to secure fight to fix our broken immigration system and security. I'll fight to lower costs on everything, gas, groceries, rent, and more. I'd like to make sure.
Tuition?
I thought you graduated already.
Our kids.
But let's not just forget also our veterans today.
Yes.
Because I want to make sure that our veterans who've done everything they can, who've served
From
their country,
Congressman to
very quick.
U.S. Senator, Ruben Gallego has defeated Kari Lake tonight.
That's right, the first Latino U.S. senator from Arizona in history. All right, of course, we'll have continuing coverage of this tomorrow on 12 News. Our 12 News journalist, Bram Resnick, is live there with Ruben Gallego tonight, so he'll have more on his victory coming up. All right, now to some breaking news out of Phoenix. There is a serious crash on Interstate 10. This is at Warner Road In Phoenix, eastbound lanes of the I-10, they are closed right now at Warner Road. There's no expected time for them to reopen.
This is a multi-vehicle crash that's causing a major backup, as you can see. This is a view from one of our ADOT cameras in the area. Everyone's being asked to avoid that area if possible. Again, it's I-10 at Warner Road.
New tonight, a controversial political display is getting a lot of attention in a Tempe neighborhood.
12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra spoke with a homeowner about the meaning behind it.
On the corner of a Tempe neighborhood sits a yard filled with political signs. But there's one decoration that's got neighbors talking.
I am glad that someone is doing it.
No, not particularly bothered by it, no.
It is a little morbid to see something like that in the neighborhood.
They're talking about this, a skeleton wearing a Donald Trump mask hanging from the garage.
I just think it looks lovely, and people feel free to come by and take a look at it, take pictures.
That's the homeowner who did not want to go on camera, but tells me she created this display because she disagrees with Trump's policies and beliefs. Well, there's a lot of people who share those views. What motivated you to put up the display?
I just got frustrated. It's my way of showing my frustration. You know, if people don't like it, that's too bad. As far as I'm concerned, I still have the right freedom of speech. And until that gets taken away, it's not coming down.
The display has been up since before the election, but she recently moved it to the garage. That's when some neighbors say it went too far.
I saw it hung up. I'm like, my first initial thoughts were, it's just a little much. A little much.
It's for free speech, and you know, like I said, hanging somebody seems, to me, it's a little overboard, but I understand her feelings, and so it's up to her.
The fact that it's hanging might be the only thing I think people might see as...
It's not hanging, it's just hanging because that's the only way I can hang them up. It's hanging around the skeleton, and it's hanging on 2 hooks.
Regardless of feelings, everyone agrees the homeowner has the right to display her views.
She has her freedom of speech.
It's a free country, and I think both sides have been sharing what they want to share.
In Tempe,
It's staying up. I'm not taking it down.
Gabriella Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thanks. New tonight, there's a soggy mess up in North Phoenix. An 8-inch water main break caused a sinkhole and some traffic issues near 35th Avenue and Bell. The southbound curb lane in the area is closed, as well as all of Are Libre Avenue. Repairs could take a couple of days.
Tonight, a West Valley woman is in the hospital fighting for her life after a car crashed into her living room, if you can believe that, severely injuring her. Glendale police telling us that speed and impairment were both factors in that crash. Here's the scene from last night in a neighborhood near 67th Avenue and Loop 101. One neighbor provided 12 News with security camera video showing the aftermath of the crash. He says that he provided Glendale Fire with his car jack to help them lift the car and then remove the woman who was trapped underneath. He worries that a crash like this could happen again in his neighborhood if people keep speeding.
I think people are just driving a little too fast, and you know, they need to understand this is a residential area. There was a car crash about a year ago. Someone hit a wall just down the street here, and a year before that, someone hit another wall right around the same area across the street. So, yeah, it's a real unfortunate event.
Glendale police say that their detectives are still investigating the crash.
Keeping you safe tonight, U.S. Customs and Border Protection is warning of a phone scam targeting people all across the country. They say these scammers are posing as agents. They then ask the person to confirm certain details because CBP has intercepted a shipment of drugs with the person's name and address on them. If the victim refuses to comply, the scammers say they'll send the police. If you get this kind of a call, just hang up and also report it. New tonight, a Gilbert second grader continues to recover months after almost losing her life from a rattlesnake bite. Now the town of Gilbert wants to make changes to prevent this from happening to others. You may remember we spoke with 7-year-old Allie Brassfield and her mom about the terrifying ordeal back in September.
Well, tonight, 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is back in Gilbert speaking with her family about the long road to recovery.
Allie Brassfield is back on her feet, literally.
She's energetic and enthusiastic about it.
From an experience that almost ended her life.
She ended up with 42 stitches total.
The 7-year-old and her dad were out for a walk near Gilbert Regional Park when Allie was bit by a rattlesnake. Making matters worse for the second grader, it took doctors nearly 30 hours to properly diagnose because she didn't have any obvious signs of a rattlesnake bite.
That's been the biggest shock for us.
Requiring more than 40 vials of anti-venom and 3 surgeries.
Yeah, it's a big start.
Her leg, and most importantly, her life, were saved.
It's a miracle how much she's improved.
Her mom, Amber Brassfield, says Allie is in physical therapy, and after weeks of being off her feet, she's back at doing the activities she loves, from hiking to wrestling, even taking second place at a recent tournament.
A huge blessing and a huge sigh of relief that she's doing so well.
What Allie went through not only shocked the community of Gilbert, but also town leadership, with some officials now wanting to make changes to prevent this from happening to anyone else. At a recent Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting, members discussed placing warning signs in the area where Allie was bit, but since it's technically county land, they're not authorized. It was then suggested that the town should put out a public service announcement about the wildlife and for people to be on the lookout.
Even though we're in the middle of Gilbert, we're in their habitat. If they get warning signs, that's good, but if not, I'm like, just having people be aware of what could or couldn't happen.
While Allie is doing a lot better, Amber told me that they are still waiting to find out if their insurance will cover their $400,000 medical bill for all that anti-venom that had to be administered. We're in Gilbert. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase. Her progress is such a great
Incredible.
update. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Chase. Well, now to a new wildfire that has popped up in the Four Peaks wilderness. The so-called buck fire is burning north of the Cottonwood Trailhead off of Forest Road 401A. Right now, it's about 50 acres, and it is 0% contained. The cause of the buck fire is not known right now, but it is being investigated. Well, it was a gorgeous Veterans Day across the state of Arizona.
But changes could be coming just in time for the weekend. 12 News meteorologist Lindsay Riley is here with our weather impact forecast.
Yeah, we're on a bit of a roller coaster ride with our temperatures this week. Today we topped out at 84. By the weekend we'll be in the 60s, and we do have some rain chances. But until then, it is going to be a dry work week. Skies are clear across the state right now. Temperatures are falling, and it will be a cool start out the door tomorrow morning. 44 in Winslow right now, 57 in Globe, and 65 here in Phoenix. Overnight lows in the 50s here in Phoenix, 33 in Winslow, 35 in Prescott, and 20 up at the Grand Canyon. Here's a look at tomorrow in the valley. It'll be a chilly start, temps in the 50s from 7 to 9 a.m. But as you can see, during the afternoon, we make it into the 70s, a bit of a breeze and sunshine all day. Karibe.
All right, looks great, Lindsay. Thank you. Well, on this Veterans Day, 12 News is honoring those who have served our country. Across the valley, many people gathered to show their gratitude. And earlier today, the city of Phoenix wrapped up its 28th annual Veterans Day Parade. The parade included numerous floats, color guards, and high school marching bands. The parade's 7 veteran grand marshals represent every major war that the U.S. has fought since World War II. This year's parade theme focused on honoring Vietnam veterans. Fellow veterans say that it's an issue the country has done a better job of addressing in recent years.
Well, you can always do more, but I think the country has come a long ways in the last 20, 25 years in honoring the Vietnam vets. I didn't serve in Vietnam myself, but those guys deserve everything they can get when they come home.
And Phoenix has been hosting this parade since 1997.
Well, now to downtown Mesa, where more than 100 different groups marched in the East Valley Veterans Day Parade. The Grand Marshal was retired Army Sergeant Dan Petrowski. He's a 22-year veteran who survived multiple explosions while serving in Afghanistan and Iraq. We want to thank all the veterans for their incredible service.